Hello my friends, this is going to be part 2 of last week's luxury Q&A discussing all your Hermes questions and dilemmas. So if you'd like to catch up on everything that we discussed last week, make sure that you check out my info box where part 1 will be linked for you. But today we're picking up right where we left off, discussing your most frequently asked questions. So if you'd like to hear my thoughts and my first-hand experience when it comes to anything and everything Hermes, then please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and keep on watching. Favorite and least favorite Hermes leathers, which is a great question, and one that reminds me that I actually owe you guys an updated Hermes leather guide, just because my taste has changed quite a bit since the last one I did a couple of years ago. But it is a great question. I would say that my least favorite would be goatskin or chèvre, all different kinds of chèvre, because most of them will have this glossy high shine finish to them, which I always feel like is going to leave my hands kind of dirty, oily and slimy. I don't know why I have that association in my head. It doesn't actually, but I just don't like the look of it, even though I understand that it is a great leather, especially if you're looking for a pop of color, because chèvre can take on color beautifully. It really beautifully absorbs and saturates a color, so it is a great leather, but it is just simply not an aesthetic that I appreciate. And then my favorite Hermes leather, believe it or not, I almost said box, which is kind of crazy considering how much I was against box at the beginning of my Hermes journey. Now I very much enjoy box, but I would still think that when it comes to bags that I use on a daily basis, I would probably say that my favorite is Epsom, just because it's so hard wearing. I love that it has a matte look to it. I just feel like with Epsom you cannot go wrong. It's also lightweight, so I think Epsom is my most favorite, and chèvre is probably my least favorite, which I feel like is going to be quite controversial, but that's genuinely how I feel. Price of the Box Kelly 25, which you guys know I always feel a little awkward talking about prices of certain bags online, so I'm not going to say the exact price, mainly because I can't remember the exact price. But something for you to keep in mind is that if you're going to get any bag in box leather, in a heritage skin, so box, Faubourg, Bavaria Faubourg, you're going to be considerably more expensive than the same bag would have been if it was made of regular leather, so Epsom or Togo. I mean, not Epsom and Togo aren't even the same price, but they're kind of different tiers when it comes to Hermes leathers. The most, again, I cannot use the word most, reasonably priced. The least expensive are going to be regular skin, and again, they're not all going to be the same price. There are going to be differences in price, but there is a tier of regular skins, so Epsom, Togo, even goat skin. Then you have your heritage skins like Box and Faubourg. Above that, you're going to have exotic skins, and within that range, I think we have just discussed exotic skins, so now you already know the different price ranges in there. So just keep in mind that if you're going to buy a heritage bag, not a heritage bag, but a bag in heritage skin, it is going to be quite a bit more expensive than the same bag would have been if it was made of one of the regular leather options. What's the best size for an H belt? I would say that 24 is my favorite. It's right in between. It's not the thinnest and it's definitely not the thickest. The original H belt that most people go for is the 32 centimeter one, which is not my favorite. I would definitely not go for the thickest H belt. For me, 24 is the best width that you can go for. But if you're asking about my most favorite Hermes belt, my most favorite one is the Kelly belt, which I want to say is 15. It's not centimeters, I think it's millimeters. I think it might be millimeters. So I think it's the 15 millimeter Kelly belt, which I do love. And then when it comes to H belts, I would definitely opt for 24. Besides Hermes, any pet accessories that you recommend? Yes, I do love Goyard. They have some fabulous pieces. We were actually considering buying the dog bowl with the Goyard trunk. in London when we were in London this, I think it was last December that we were there, yes, right before Christmas. So that's something that I was eyeing, but the line to Goyard is always insane and I didn't want to wait in line for that long and we didn't have the time. So that's something that I didn't buy, but I do love Goyard pet accessories. Celine has just launched an entire pet collection, which I am so tempted by. They actually have a really similar dog bowl with a trunk. The only difference is that it's covered in the Celine Triumph instead of the Goyard print. They have a really fun chew toy, which I think I'm going to get. They have some leashes, some colors, which are really fun. Also, I know that you ask for accessories other than Hermes, but Hermes has just launched their latest collection for dogs, which includes a little tent, which I know so well that I shouldn't buy for the baby, but I really want to. So I would say look at Goyard and look at Celine because they definitely have some beautiful, luxurious, and unnecessary pet pieces. Have you bought any pieces that you regret? Yes, quite a few of them. I just did a video on pieces that I wish I could return or I shouldn't buy any more of, which I'll make sure to link down below. But there is actually a piece that you haven't seen, which I bought recently. You will see it in an upcoming unboxing, which I'm hoping to film next week. The only reason I'm waiting is because there's one piece that I need to exchange, but my advisor is on holiday, so I need to wait until they come back so I can exchange it and then film that unboxing for you guys. But there's going to be one piece in that video which was almost an instant regret. I saw it in the boutique. I'll tell you exactly how that happened, and I got sucked in, and pretty much as soon as I left, I was like, what was I thinking? This is not a piece that I'm probably ever going to wear, but I'm glad I have it because it is a popular piece. It's incredibly tough to get, so I'm excited to see for myself if it's truly worth the hype. But keep your eyes peeled because there is a video coming up with an almost instant regret that I'm hoping we can turn around and make it into a piece that I will actually very much enjoy. My advisor asked me about my Birkin wishlist. Do you think I have a chance? I think it's an amazing start. It's a great sign that they ask you for your wish list. It's definitely something that you have to work towards, but if they already ask you for your wish list and you've already submitted a wish, that is an amazing start. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you that you get your dream bag sooner rather than later. So I think it is a fabulous start, but I wouldn't just stop here. Yes, I know that some people just put in a wish, they get a call a month later that their bag has come in, and that's pretty much it. If it's taking a little bit longer, don't get disheartened. Just keep working towards it. Make sure that you maintain your relationship with the brand. Check in every once in a while. Whenever you go shopping, make sure that you stop by Hermes. But yeah, I think it is a fabulous start, and I really am rooting that you get your dream bag really soon. What are your thoughts on obtaining an Hermes bag through auction? I think as long as you go to a reliable auction house, you should be perfectly fine. I do think that if you're getting a more popular bag, it's going to be more expensive because you're trying to outbid people, and the more popular the piece is, the more bids will be put in, I assume. But I think if you're looking for a really special piece, you want to have that auction experience, which, let's be honest, is kind of charming. I think it's a great way to get your hands on a bag, but an expensive one. And do not forget that with most auctions, you're not only paying your bid, but then on top of your bid price, there is going to be an auction fee that you have to pay. So just keep that in mind if you're getting a bag from any one of the big reliable auction houses. What do you think of influencers that are able to buy more than 2 to 3 Quota bags a year? I'm not exactly sure. I'm not really a big consumer of luxury content online just because I do these videos for you guys a couple of times a week. I feel like my entire life would be all about luxury content. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm not familiar with anyone's Hermes journey when it comes to getting bags. But when it comes to getting more than 2 Quota bags within 1 year, or even 3 if that includes a special order bag, this is what I can tell you, and this is my personal experience. It has nothing to do with anyone else's. I'm not someone who would dig in anyone's Hermes journey, in anyone's pocket, or anything along those lines, but this is my first-hand experience. So when it comes to Hermes bags, Birkins, Kellys, and Constances, you're technically allowed 2 bags within 1 year. You can choose if you want one of them to be a Birkin, the other one a Kelly. If you want 2 Kellys, 2 Birkins, it's completely up to you. So that is the allowance that you have. This does not guarantee that you will actually be offered those 2 bags, but if you do get bags offered to you that you actually like, you do have the chance to buy 2 of them when it comes to Birkins and Kellys. And I should have also mentioned Kelly Pochette, Kelly Cut, and Constance in exotic skins will also be considered a quota bag by most boutiques. The only way around this rule that I can think of that doesn't actually break any rules is to actually get a special order bag. So if you place a request for a special order bag that comes in, most boutiques will allow you to take it home even if you had already received 2 quota bags within that year. So that's really the only way around it. I'm not exactly sure how easy people make it seem online to get a 3rd or 4th bag, but it's definitely not as easy as it sounds, especially in this climate when bags are so tough to come by. In the past, I've heard of one person who was able to get a 3rd bag on paper without breaking any rules, because obviously some people try to bend the rules, but you do not want to get yourself and more importantly your advisor in trouble. So I would not recommend that you ask for a 2nd, a 3rd, or a 4th bag if it's simply not allowed. If you get them offered and if they say that you can take them home, why not? But I've personally only ever heard of one person, and their store really had to go out of their way to get them access to that 3rd bag. And this was a person who had a really strong bond with the brand. It's someone who furnished their apartment with Hermes. They almost exclusively only wore Hermes made to measure. So obviously it can happen, but it definitely does not happen often. And if the person in question hasn't had the longest relationship with the brand, I would just say that it would be tough to get a 2nd, a 3rd, or a 4th bag. But again, this is just my first-hand experience. Not to mention that getting 2 bags I think is more than enough and more than fair, because the whole reason that they have this quota policy in place is to actually give most people a chance to get their hands on a bag. At least that's the theory, because in the past when you could buy as many bags as you wanted, most of the bags went to people who had the time to go to the boutique every other day to ask if they have anything new in stock. Whereas this policy was put in place so the bags that they do have can be split more fairly among people who are truly interested in getting a bag. So I don't know what the trend is and what's the latest and greatest online, but all I can say is that based on my experience, getting more than 2 bags is incredibly rare and it really doesn't happen often, if ever. Your new wish list and the difference between Constance 18 and 24. So my new wish list is coming. I'm thinking it's going to be the next video after this, but it is going to be slightly different as you'll see in that video. But when it comes to the Constance 18 versus 24, you guys know that I don't love the Constance 24. For me, when it comes to the Constance, I want it to be a comfortable crossbody bag, and with the 24, I just simply wasn't able to do that. It was way too wide, it was way too big, it was uncomfortable, it looked strange. So I personally much prefer the 18. But if you're going to carry your Constance with the strap doubled as a bag that you can carry under your arm, or as a bag that you're just using sort of as a top handle bag with the straps, the Constance 24 is a lovely bag. I think if you like things along the lines of the Chanel Jumbo, you're going to enjoy a Constance 24. I wouldn't, so for me it is Constance 18 all the way. Vintage and pre-loved versus new. I personally don't have any issues with buying anything vintage or pre-loved. I think there are certain bags that are a much better deal to buy pre-loved than brand new from the boutique. I personally have never purchased the bag pre-loved. I would love to, which we'll discuss in my upcoming wishlist video, but I think it just depends on the piece that you're looking for. I don't have anything against buying pre-loved, but always make sure that you do your due diligence, you do as much research as you possibly can, and you only buy from places that you trust, because the worst feeling, in my opinion, for you would be to get a bag and always doubt in the back of your mind if what you purchased was actually real. So make sure that you go to a reliable source, and if you buy something Hermes, I would recommend that you take it into Hermes and have it treated. Hermes is not going to be able to or willing to authenticate the bag for you on the spot. But if you drop it off at the spa and if they're willing to work on it, that's kind of a sign that it is an authentic piece. And if they're not willing to work on it, obviously that says it all. You don't need any more information than that. But just keep in mind that if you live outside of Europe and your bag gets shipped to Paris and it turns out to be fake, you might not get it back, because obviously they're not allowed to ship fake products back and forth, considering that it would be an illegal. I think we got through about 1/6 of your questions, which I'm not happy about, because I really appreciate all your questions. But maybe we'll do another Q&A. If you'd like to participate in future Q&As like this, make sure you follow me on Instagram. But I have to stop here because it is getting so hot and I cannot turn on the AC because it's way too loud and distracting. So I'm gonna go have to cool down before I go run some errands. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. Please share your thoughts and your experience in the comments section. I always love hearing your feedback. And while you're down there, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I appreciate you being here and watching, and I hope to see you back here with a new video really soon. But for now, bye.